Welcome back to the Deep Six Wrestling Podcast. It is June 2nd. Happy June, everybody. And we have got a bunch of podcast stuff to do. So, we still don't have our Double or Nothing review out. It will be coming this week at some point, hopefully. Just, again, very busy. Best of the Super Juniors is the actual tournament itself is finished. We have the finals tomorrow on Friday, so I'm getting nights 11 and 12 out for a review today. We also have Dynamite, which was last night, a very big Dynamite episode, which we'll have a review out for. And Impact Wrestling is back tonight on the Road to Slammiversary, which Ryan and Angelo will be reviewing. That'll probably come out sometime this weekend. So, I'm Pat. If you're new here, this is our New Japan coverage for Best of the Super Juniors 29. I have a review out for every single night of the tournament thus far. And so this is going to be covering night 11 of the tournament, the next to last night of tournament action. So, if you're new here, consider subscribing either on YouTube or wherever you're listening to. If you're listening to this streaming as a podcast, we're on basically all streaming services. Just look up the Deep Six Wrestling Podcast. But you can also find us on YouTube, where we post our episodes now very frequently. If you're on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening on the podcast, if you're on Spotify or Apple, please leave a review or rating for us. It helps us grow. You can also follow us over on Twitter at Deep Six Wrestling. Without the G, just Deep Six Wrestling. And we post when we have new episodes. So, that's that very, very quick intro, because I have a lot of recording to do today. So, we're going to kick things off with Night 11 of the New Japan Best of the Super Juniors with Master Wato versus L. Lindeman here. Wato gets his, goes for his 3-strike combo, but gets blocked as Lindeman goes for a suplex. The Blue Boy gets out and drops Lindeman with a springboard uppercut. He actually lands it. Wato gets sent to the floor, and L. Lindeman follows up with his big dive over the ropes, gets a very loud clap reaction. Right off the bat, this crowd is loud and set a good environment for the show, especially coming off of that I don't know the arena names, the arena with the escalators. Anyway, big running corner elbow from Lindeman. We have a series of roll-ups with both men getting near falls. Wato gets Lindeman down for a near fall via head scissors. A big rough kick lands from Wato on the nose of Lindeman. German from L. Lindeman gets attempted, but Wato gets out with the elbows and drops him with Recitamento for another near fall. The Tombstone Tenzan driver successfully lands, and Wato goes up top, and he hits the RPP. Master Wato wins. Master Wato moves to 6 points off of this win, and L. Lindeman sits with 8, which was him getting eliminated. I thought this was a pretty fun match. I think L. Lindeman had a great tournament from top to bottom. Master Wato was one of the guys who had a very first half, but finished his second half with some really good matches. So, Doki versus Teton. We have a huge dive from Doki to start, who wipes out Teton on the floor. Back in the ring, Matrix escape from Teton, thrust kick, drop kick, and another thrust kick on the apron, followed by a springboard moonsault to the floor. It was a very big, fast, exciting sequence from Teton. The Doki Choki gets locked in, but Teton gets his foot on the ropes for the rope break. Pele kick from Titan on the apron, followed by the double stomp onto the apron. Frog splash from Teton, but he lands directly into the Doki Choki. Very good counter here. But he gets his leg on the rope for the rope break. Doki comes off the top rope and misses, gives an enzigiri from Teton, and then springboard tornado DDT from Titan lands, or Teton. It's very hard, very confusing. Thrust kick lands from Teton, but he goes for his, corner lariat through the ropes, and that gets blocked. Teton jumps to the top turnbuckle, and this was really cool here. As he's jumping over the turnbuckle, he slams Doki face first onto the turnbuckle pad. This was very, the top of the ring post. Very good looking. This gets followed up with the double stomp from Teton back in the ring, and he wins, moving to 6 points, while Doki sits at 6. Both men are eliminated from the tournament. Yo versus Alex Zane. Right off the bat here, we have a drop toe hold from Yo, which lines him up for the basement drop kick to the face. Running cannonball in the corner from Alex Zane. A dragon screw on the apron. Zane's legs goes through the ropes, with Yo following up with a plancha over the top rope down onto the floor. Falcon Arrow from Yo scores a 2 count back in the ring. A German suplex from Yo, but Alex lands on his feet as he cuts out Yo's legs from underneath him. Flipping senton gets avoided by Yo as he goes back to work on Zane's legs before eating a handspring kick from the sauce. Hurricane Rana off the top rope from Zane scores a 2 count. This guy, the Hurricane Ranas he's been doing with this in the corner where he just sends the guy across the ring. These all look so good. A series of forearms from Yo land before he gets leveled by a big boot from Alex Zane. The Baja Blast gets attempted but gets countered into a knee bar. Bridging German from Yo gets hit, but Zane gets out last second. Zane has a wrist lock here as he nails Yo with 3 headbutts, following up with a pop-up knee. The taco driver gets attempted, but Yo flips out and attempts for direct drive, but Alex Zane gets out, then eats a thrust kick from Yo, followed up by a dragon suplex out of nowhere, which picks up the win for Yo. I really like when Yo shows like his intensity here and just like, you know, it feels like a meticulous wrestler. I thought he really put that on display in his match with Hiromu. I thought to a lesser extent it was on display here against Alex Zane, so I was a fan of this. Yo wrestling like this, very good stuff. And Alex Zane again, very strong tournament for him. We still have Night 12 to talk about, but you know, just in-ring wise, Alex Zane had a very, very strong tournament, and this I believe was the match that eliminated Alex Zane from contention. Bushi versus TJP, and I will say it once again as I do every time we talk about Bushi, you could not pay me enough to care about this man as a wrestler. Suicide dive immediately from Bushi sends TJP into the first rows of fans here. TJP then goes to work on Bushi's right arm, back in the ring, taking control of the match. TJP locks in Bushi's legs, playing to the crowd before locking the Muda lock in next to the ropes. Bushi gets his hand out for the rope break. We have a running boot wash from TJP landing in the corner, a second rope drop kick from Bushi, as well as him doing the Bushi Rooney. Mamba Splash, Bushi kicks out, but then the Pinoy stretch gets locked in, and TJP taps him out, moving to 8 points with Bushi sitting at 6. Both men, I believe, were mathematically eliminated at this point as well. Clark Connors versus Hiromu Takahashi here. Shibata is shown on commentary before the match, which plays kind of a factor in here with like commentary noting about Clark wanting to impress Shibata. The two men go hard for a start here with chops tearing into each other's chests. Clark goes for a chop block, but it gets avoided before he drops Hiromu with a shoulder tackle. Clark gets held against the ropes with Hiromu's legs before getting dragged out and sent hard into the ring post shoulder first. Hiromu's just working over Clark's shoulders here, which are all taped up. A scoop slam on the floor drops Clark. Corner lariat back in the ring and a seated drop kick from Hiromu before locking in a double wrist lock. Big chops from Clark light up Hiromu before going for another chop block, which Takahashi avoids again. Then dropping Clark with his own chops. I believe this is the Jeep flip is what the pounce is called. From Clark sends Hiromu across the ring. A spear gets attempted but gets blocked. Clark then drops Hiromu with a suplex. Pop-up powerbomb from Hiromu gets a 2 count. The Victory Royale gets attempted but gets blocked. Headbutt from Clark drops Takahashi, but Hiromu levels him with a Hiromu bomber. The complete shot gets attempted but gets countered into a wheelbarrow suplex from Connors. This was a really nice counter. And then we had Clark going for the spear once again, but Hiromu catches him in the D. This was, again, another really nice sequence. Clark fights out and drops Hiromu with a buckle bomb. The two men collide with clotheslines. Clark lands the spear successfully, and Hiromu gets out like 2.9 here for a very big near fall. The power slam lands. Trophy kill gets attempted, but gets countered with a Hurricane Rana into the D. Clark powers out of it, but then gets dropped with a stunner, and then the D gets locked in once again, and Clark taps out. Hiromu moves to 10 points. Clark Connors sits at 6 and eliminated here. I thought these two had phenomenal chemistry. I thought Clark looked fantastic here. I thought that this was just really good from top to bottom. More of this, please. This was so good. Taguchi versus Ace Austin. Ace shows off his thighs here to start. Taguchi tries a hip attack against the thighs, but he sells it like they're made of steel before calling for a timeout. Ace misses a leg drop before Taguchi nails Austin in the face with his bum. We have a one-handed cartwheel from Ace over Taguchi during a drop down. The hip attack from Taguchi drops Ace against the ropes, and he lowers his pants and puts the ass in Ace Austin's face. An arm drag from Ace before he slides. He takes out his little ace card and slides it between the cheeks of Taguchi, and Taguchi sells this like he got a paper crack in his ass crack. Ace gets into the floor and eats a triangle plancha from Taguchi. We have repeated B triggers back in the ring against the ropes, followed up by a springboard hip attack that wipes out Ace for a 2 count. Head scissors get locked in on Taguchi with him beginning to fade, but he gets his foot on the rope. Sword of Glory gets attempted, but he has to cancel it and then takes Taguchi out at ringside before successfully landing it. Back in the ring, we have the double step for a 2 count landing for Ace. Hip attack from Taguchi, but Ace rolls him up for 2. House of Cards lands, and Ace goes for the fold with the crowd fully behind him, but Taguchi drops to dodge, and he's standing over Ace here, and the pants come down, and he sits down, ass right in the face of Ace Austin, and he pins him. Post-match, Taguchi implies that he wants the X Division title, and commentary jokes about the Ass Division and turning Ultimate X into Ultimate Ass. What a time to be alive. Taguchi moves to 6, Ace Austin sits at 10, and this would prevent Ace Austin from winning the tournament. So Taguchi played spoiler. But it was a fun time, you know. Ace Austin had again, I think coming out of this tournament, Ace Austin's going to be a name that everybody's talking about. Wheeler Yuta versus El Phantasmo. Yuta starts fast tonight, immediately going after Phantasmo before the bell. Big drop kick from Yuta, followed up with a tope suicida. Ringside, Yuta gets his eyes raked, but brings the elbows down on the floor. Then eats some chops and elbow strikes and a big boot from Phantasmo. A double arm DDT drops Wheeler on the floor. El Phantasmo rolls the ref back in and asks for the count out. A brainbuster from ELP drops Yuta for a 2 count. Top rope crossbody lands from Wheeler, as does an atomic drop and a step up enziguri. Cattle mutilation gets attempted, but a roll through from Phantasmo lands for 2. Phantasmo comes off the ropes with a springboard crossbody. He goes for a lion salt, but Yuta dodges and gets the seatbelt clutch for a near fall. Pain Thriller from Yuta drops ELP for another 2 count as he finally locks in the cattle mutilation successfully on his second attempt, but Phantasmo gets his foot on the ropes. Backslide from Phantasmo. CR2 gets blocked as Yuta fires off with a Busaiku knee out of nowhere, which was really good. Got a good reaction from the crowd as well. Combination Yuta lock Tombstone drops ELP for 2. With Yuta then firing up with repeated elbows again into the seatbelt clutch, but ELP gets out and he drops Wheeler with the sudden death for a near fall before landing the CR2. And El Phantasmo wins, moving to 12 points. Yuta sits at 8, and I believe this is what mathematically eliminated Wheeler Yuta from winning. I thought these two had again, really solid match here. Yuta, similar to Wato, I thought had a meh start to the tournament, but his second half definitely, I thought Wheeler Yuta had a very good second half of his tournament. That would send us to Sho versus Yoshinobu Kanamaru. Kanamaru goes to Sho's leg immediately at ringside with a chair, sending him in ring as the bell rings, and then just goes to work on his leg again. Sho gets sent across the ring, but he hobbles and falls. We have a basement dropkick from Kanamaru. The figure 4 gets locked in, but Sho grabs Marty Asami and sends him down into Kanamaru to break the hold. Sho goes for the wrench, but Kanamaru gets the whiskey. The wrench gets kicked out of Sho's hand as Kanamaru picks it up and twirls it for the crowd. The low blow lands from Kanamaru. He goes up high, moonsault press for a big near fall before dropping Sho with a brainbuster, and he wins. And I believe this was his shortest match of the tournament. Yoshinobu Kanamaru moves to 6 points. Sho sits at 8 and is mathematically eliminated from the tournament. Yeah, I wasn't really expecting Kanamaru to have such a big tournament here with him playing spoiler to everybody, but he did. And it was successful. You know, every time he did this, it got a big reaction from the crowd. And just, you know, a nice change of pace where we didn't need like a 10, 15-minute match on the card. Instead, we could just get like 2 minutes of just very fast-paced nonsense. So it's perfectly fine. Francesco Akira versus Taiji Ishimori is next here. Out of the gate, we have a big spinning head scissors from Francesco, which sends Ishimori down to the floor. Akira hits his own type of 619 here on the apron, and a big springboard moonsault down to the floor. Akira gets lawn darted shoulder first in the ring post by Ishimori as he goes to take off the blue corner pad. Back in the ring, drop kick from Akira cuts off the big offensive run from Ishimori, following up with his own repeated corner uppercuts. Akira gets his shoulder sent first into the exposed corner once again. Akira catches Ishimori in midair with a German suplex, which Looked really good, and we had a destroyer from Ishimori, but Akira fires up through, just basically no-selling here, with double knees and then both men go down. This is a big sequence. A huge Spanish fly off the top rope for a big near fall from Akira. The fireball gets blocked. Mystica lands from Ishimori, and he transitions into the bone lock, but Francesco gets to the ropes. Bloody Cross gets blocked, and Akira drops Ishimori with a Poison Rana. Fireball gets called for again, but Ishimori nails Akira with a clothesline. The double knee facebuster lands for a 2 count from Ishimori before the Bloody Cross lands, and he wins. Francesco Akira sits at 6 points. Taiji Ishimori moves to 12. Francesco Akira eliminated from contention. And I believe that sends us to our main event here, which is El Desperado versus Robbie Eagles in a big match here that sees Robbie immediately being sent off the ropes and goes for an arm drag, but his eyes get raked. The springboard arm drag from Robbie lands, sending Desperado down to the floor. He looks to dive, but fakes out after Desperado moves. Then down on the floor, Robbie runs off the ring post for another arm drag. Looked pretty cool. Eagles runs through the ropes with a huge flipping suicide dive onto the entrance ramp. Robbie goes for an enziguri, and Desperado catches him in air with a dragon screw, which was really nice. The numero dos gets locked in back in the ring, but Eagles gets to the ropes. Desperado goes to dive, but Robbie nails him with a kick in the ropes. Desperado gets taken out to the floor and gets back in the 19 count. Eagles begins working over the knee, getting the Ron Miller special locked in, but Despy gets the rope break. Spinebuster is blocked from Desperado, and Robbie lands the Acai DDT, but lands rough on his leg here. Eagles goes for the 450, but Desperado moves with Eagles landing on his feet and having his leg jam. Numero Dos gets locked in for a second time, but Eagles gets out. Bastard Driver from Desperado lands for a very close 2 count. But Robbie gets out and lands the 450 splash to the legs of Desperado before locking in the Ron Miller special. And Desperado taps out with both guys sitting at 10 points here following this, meaning both are in contention for winning. So yeah, that was night 11. Pretty easy review here. Also shorter review than I feel like the others, but just trying to get these all done. So that's the review. It was a good show. Desperado versus Eagles was really good. Akira versus Ishimori was pretty good. Ace Austin versus Taguchi was fun. Wheeler Yuta versus Phantasmo was pretty good. Clark Connors versus Hiromu was fantastic. And I really liked Yo versus Alex Zane as well. So, yeah. Tune back in for our review my review, I guess I should say, of Night 12, which is the final night of block action. And then Friday, I will have our actual review for the finals and just a finale roundup of the entire tournament. So, thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you in the next episode.